Scamming in RuneScape is the act of stealing gold, items, or an account from another player. It is strictly against the rules of RuneScape and can be punishable by mute or ban. Scamming is as old as RuneScape itself. There are many different ways to be scammed in RuneScape. Some scams are simple, while others are more complex. From the infamous armor trimming trick to the doubling money scam, RuneScape's virtual world has seen a variety of deceptive tactics used to swindle players out of their hard-earned gold and items. So grab your rune scimitar, sit back, and join me as we discuss RuneScape's most infamous scams. I have divided all of the scams I'll be going over into 4 different categories: trade scams, luring scams, phishing scams, and miscellaneous scams. Let's start with trade scams. A trade scam involves deceiving another player during the trading process to gain items or gold unfairly. This is usually done by earning the trust of another player or by taking advantage of one's lack of knowledge or awareness. Let's take a look at some trade scams. The doubling money scam is one of the oldest scams in the book. This occurs when a scammer says doubling money, which is them saying they will double any amount of gold that someone trades with them. You could often see these scammers in populated areas such as the Grand Exchange or some of the busier banks around the world. After the victim trades their cash stack, they then expect the other player to give them double the amount of money in a separate trade. Instead, they simply walk away or log out, leaving the victim with nothing except the feeling of being used, exploited, feeling that you're looked at only as an object. I miss you, Rebecca. To prevent players from trying to trade smaller amounts of money, the scammer may add a 500k minimum to trick players into trading a higher amount of gold. The legendary armor trimming scam. This scam involves a scammer offering to turn the victim's armor into trimmed armor. The scammer will tell the victim to trade the armor they wish to be trimmed and simply run away or log off. Trimmed armor, also known as ornamental armor, is only obtainable from the Grand Exchange or by completing clue scrolls. There is absolutely no way a player can trim armor in RuneScape. This scam has been around for over 20 years, so if you fall for it, you probably deserved it. A scammer will offer to cut any gems for free if a player's crafting level isn't high enough to do it themselves. Instead of cutting the gems and returning them, the scammer will do what they do best and simply log off. This scam is nearly obsolete in RuneScape 3, however, with the implementation of the assist system that is so hard to say. This allows players to temporarily use another player's skill level. Some people think old school RuneScape needs an assist system. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments. Gambling is a type of trust trading that can come in many different forms. However, they all follow the same principle. A gambling host uses an item that produces different outcomes. Let's focus on my personal favorite, the Mithril Seeds. Why is this my personal favorite? I don't know, anyways. Hot or Cold was a popular gambling game in which the host of the game would plant a mithril seed and a random colored flower would appear. The player would place their bet, let's say 200k, to the host. The player would then guess whether the color of the plant is going to be hot or cold. Red, yellow, and orange flowers are hot, while blue, purple, and pink are cold flowers. Mixed flowers mean the host wins by default, while black or white flowers give you another turn. If the player guessed correctly, a legitimate host of the game would reward the player with double the money they initially traded. However, there were an incredible amount of scammers that took advantage of this and logged out with all of their money. Item swapping is the most simple scam in all of RuneScape. This scam involves swapping the requested item in a trade for an item that looks very similar and is significantly cheaper. Some items that work well for this scam are prayer potions and attack potions, the rune 2H sword and the adamant 2H sword, the armadillo crossbow and a hunter's crossbow, U-logs and regular logs. Ever since the release of old school RuneScape in 2013, an unofficial market has appeared for transferring coins between the two games. As this transaction relies on a trust trade, scammers take advantage of this by logging out and not fulfilling their part of the trade. A scammer will offer to give another player 10% of the money they show in a trade. For example, if the player shows them 1 million coins, hypothetically, the scammer would give them 100k. After the victim shows their cash stack, the scammer will drop in the 10% of the stack and accept the trade. If the victim isn't paying attention, they will accept it and be left with 1/10 of their original money, and the scammer will leave with the rest. Although Jagex has removed large-scale gambling from the game, such as toy horses and flowers as we discussed previously, some forms of gambling still exist. Instead of using the in-game gambling items, the use of gambling bots will use text chats and auto-typer scripts to perform the necessary rolls of the dice. Because these gambling bots are controlled by the hosts themselves, it's not possible to trust them to roll fairly. It's very easy for the bot scripters to adjust the rolls of the dice in order to roll in the host's favor. I mean, why wouldn't they? They get free money out of it, right? Regardless, it's probably just best to avoid it overall. Not to mention, it's also against the rules of RuneScape. Wow, look at the time. We're ready to move on to the second category. Hope I'm not boring you guys too much. Feel free to take this time to pause and grab a snack or something. All right. Let's see what we have next. But first, let me tell you about a little something called NordVPN. What is a NordVPN? NordVPN is the best virtual private network in the market. Today's video is all about scamming. Using NordVPN can prevent you from getting scammed in real life. It can help protect you against threats such as phishing, malware, password attacks, and some other shady stuff. I'm currently on deployment while editing this video. NordVPN not only protects me from threats online, but allows me to watch my favorite TV shows and movies that are unavailable in my current region. Click the link in the description below to get NordVPN now. Back to RuneScape. Take it away, Fox.
Hi guys, Fox here from Fox OSRs. Some of the most common scams found in old school RuneScape are the luring scams. This is where someone is intentionally trying to trick and deceive a player into a dangerous or one-way area in order to coerce the player into making a costly mistake, allowing the scammer to steal the player's valuable items or GP. Wilderness luring refers to scammers using deceptive methods to get their victims to enter the wilderness, where PvP is enabled. There are several methods to luring people into the wilderness, such as drop luring, which we will discuss momentarily, convincing the victim to pull the edgefill lever, which immediately teleports you to the deep wilderness, tricking them into using burning amulet teleports, which, surprise, takes you to the wilderness, or simply convincing them to cross the wilderness ditch. Regardless of the method, unless fully prepared, death is very likely. Drop luring occurs when a scammer drops something seemingly valuable in a dangerous area, such as the wilderness. If the victim takes the bait and attempts to grab the item, the scammer, or a friend of the scammer, will kill the victim, causing them to lose all of their belongings. Alternatively, the scammer can convince the victim to simply drop their item on the ground, and then kill the player, or somehow convince the victim to hop worlds or log out completely. Monster luring is a different type of lure, where a player attracts an aggressive monster to another player to kill them. This scam doesn't work as well as it used to, as players can retrieve items after death with plenty of time to do so. In the early days of RuneScape, upon death, you would drop your items in a pile on the ground for anyone to take. Besides scamming, this method is also commonly used as a fun way to kill bots that are farming resources.
Well, look who it is. Does anyone ever come up here? I used to play hide and seek with my friends in RuneScape back when we were kids, and this was my hiding spot. Anyways, let's check out the next category and learn all about phishing scams. Phishing is a skill that involves catching fish from the... Wait, phishing with a PH? Oh, phishing is the act of tricking players into revealing their account details in an attempt to secure access to the victim's account. Once the scammer has access to the account, they steal any wealth and items of value from the account. Oftentimes, they'll even sell the account on the black market or use the account for botting. Anyone who asks for personal information can be reported under Rule 11 of the Code of Conduct. Let's take a look. A scammer will attempt to get a victim to say their password using in-game chat. The scammer will say something along the lines of, "Jagex changed it to where you can't say your password backwards anymore. Mine is..." However, the asterisks are actual asterisks. Is that hard to say? Does that make sense? Like they type the asterisks, like it didn't actually. Okay, anyways. If successful, the victim will try it and their password will be compromised. If they don't act quick, the scammer can log onto their account and steal all of their items. Scammers have been known to log into free-to-play worlds and start offering to buy membership for anyone who gives the scammer their password. I knew the scam was stupid, but now that I'm saying it out loud, it's exceptionally stupid. I don't even think I need to explain the rest of the scam. So, let's move on. Macroing, or botting, is the act of using a third-party software to perform automated tasks in RuneScape. There are macros to perform clicks, type for you, or even interact with the game client directly. Players who are looking to use a macroing software may have their accounts compromised if the software asks you to log in with your RuneScape account. However, the software contains a keylogger, which records every button that is pressed on your keyboard and is sent to the website's creators. Then, they log into your account and steal everything you own. In case my explanation on macroing didn't really make sense, maybe this simple melody will. Saw the ad, and the price was real cheap. Got maxed mining while you're in the bed sleeping. You think you're smart, and you think that you've won. Woke up that day, and your account was completely gone. I really don't know why I made that. Anyways. There are several websites out there which may or may not resemble the official RuneScape website. These can be accessed many ways, but primarily by falling for a fake email or finding a fake link. I don't know if they're as common as they used to be, but I used to get fake Jagex emails constantly as a kid. The victim simply attempts to log into the fake RuneScape website, just giving their information away. Greetings, it's good to see you again. I hope I'm not wasting your time. Like I hope you're not wasting XP. Like, I hope you're doing agility or something on the side. You, my friend, have made it to the final category. The category of miscellaneous stuff that I didn't know where else to put in the video, so I made it its own category. Let's look into it. Miscellaneous scams are all about trickery and confusion. They still exploit game mechanics, player trust, and a victim's lack of knowledge, but don't quite fit in anywhere else in the video. Let's take a look at the final category. A scammer will invite a victim into their player-owned house and convince them to conduct a trade by placing an item on a table or by dropping it on the ground. The scammer will expel the victim from their house and lock the entrance portal. This gives the victim no chance to get their items back. This scam lost popularity since players are now given a warning before they drop items in other players' houses. In case you're not familiar with the term, a drop party is a player-hosted event where a group of players drop random items, typically items with high value, on the ground. Whoever can pick it up before someone else gets to keep that item. In this scam, the scammer will claim to host a drop party and invite a group of people. Instead of contributing to the drops, the scammer will simply take other people's dropped items for themselves and try to slip out the back door. A scammer will convince a victim to drop an expensive item on the other side of a fence or an obstacle. The scammer will explain to the victim that they can pick it up if the scammer moves or comes toward the item. They will then use Telekinetic grab to obtain the item, all without moving. I'm not sure why anyone would ever drop an expensive item on the ground if a random person asked you to, but people often fell for this in the early days of RuneScape. Fortunately, it didn't happen to me. Nope, not me. Nope. Nope. Anyways. Two scammers will work together for this scam. One player will be selling an item for a high price, higher than the grand exchange price. The other will claim to be buying the same item for an even higher price. The victim will buy the item from the first scammer at the inflated price, hoping to sell it to the second scammer for a profit. However, after the victim buys the item, Both scammers log off, resulting in a sad loss for the victim. A scammer will claim that they are quitting RuneScape and giving away their account. The hope is that their victim will take them up on the offer and attempt to make this new, higher level account their main account. The victim will then move all of their items to the bank of their new account. Then, using the account recovery process, the scammer will have their password changed and now has their account back with all of the victim's items as well. And just like that, we're at the end of the video. I had to cut so much paper for this video, I never want to see a pair of scissors ever again in my life. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. You will not get scammed, I promise. Huge thanks to Fox OSRS. Go check out their channel, link in the description. Let me know in the comments below what kind of scams you've fallen for. Stay safe out there, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.